right, folks, we are back here on Issues and Answers Friday. My country with Scott Cannon. I am back and really before the affirmative action decision, the biggest news story was basically the audio recording of our former president Donald Trump, who is as big of a beneficiary of nepotism and cronyism as could possibly be. If we want to talk about the affirmative action, real affirmative action is being rich and white in America. That's the real affirmative action. And Donald Trump is as big of a nepo baby as there is. He was a millionaire at 8 years old for a reason. But anyway, in an audio recording, Donald Trump has discussed a highly confidential document with an interviewer. This is from our friends again at the Associated Press. An audio recording from a meeting in which former President Donald Trump discusses a highly confidential document with an interviewer appears to undermine his latter claim that he didn't have such documents, only magazines and newspaper clippings. The recording from a July 2021 interview Trump gave at his Bedminster, New Jersey resort for people working on the memoir of his former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, is a critical piece of evidence in special counsel Jack Smith's indictment of Trump over the mishandling of classified information. The special counsel's indictment alleges that those in attendance at the meeting with Trump, including a writer, a publisher, and two of Trump's staff members, were shown classified information about a Pentagon plan of attack on an unspecified foreign country. These are the papers, Trump said in a moment that seems to indicate he's holding a secret Pentagon document with plans to attack Iran. This was done by the military and given to me. Now, Trump's reference to something he says is highly confidential and his apparent showing of documents to other people at the 2021 meeting could undercut his claim in a recent Fox News Channel interview that he didn't have any documents with him. He was lying, and we all knew it. There was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things, Trump said on Fox. And it may have held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles. Trump pleaded guilty earlier this month to 37 counts related to the alleged mishandling of classified documents kept at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida, as part of a 38-count indictment that also charged his aide and former valet, Walt Nauta. Nauta is set to be arraigned on Tuesday before a federal judge in Miami. A Trump campaign person said the audio recording, which was first aired on Anderson Cooper 360, provides context, providing once again that Trump did nothing wrong at all, and Trump on his social media platform late Monday claimed the recording is actually an exoneration rather than what they would have you believe. Do people actually believe that? I mean, this sort of it's funny how a lot of times these stories intersect. I swear I did not mean for these stories to intersect. But this is the arrogance of privilege. This is the arrogance of a rich kid being able to get away with whatever the hell he's wanted to his entire life. He is literally on tape confessing to the crime. Literally on tape. And they've essentially said, no, that's not it. That's not it. He's literally confessing.
These are bad, sick people.
That was your coup, you know.
against you.
Well, it started right at the
like
beginning.
when Millie's talking about, oh, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in.
That's right.
Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Millie, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him.
Wow.
We looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time, you know.
she'd send
Private
it.
email.
No, she'd send it to
Yeah.
Anthony Weiner,
Yeah.
the pervert.
Please print.
By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was just saying because we were talking about it, and you know, he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the
You
papers.
did.
This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
Declassify
figure out
it.
yeah.
See, as president, I could have declassified
Yeah.
it. Now I can't, you know, but this is
Yeah,
classified.
now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so, look, we here and I have, and you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
It's
you.
incredible, right?
No,
Hey, bring some Cokes in, please.
So there you go. He says specifically, if I was president, I could declassify that, but now probably not. Now, do I think that this is the bigger story in this issue? No. Trump, in his own misguided and ridiculous way, is essentially saying the military-industrial complex tried to goad me into attacking Iran, and then when I refused to go along with it, they said I did it instead of them. And in that sense, I absolutely believe him. We know that there was a lot of times when war hawks tried to get Trump to start a new war with Russia and everybody else. That's why they spent the entirety of the 4 years pushing the nonsense Russiagate narrative, was to try to prod him to start a war with Russia. Now Joe Biden got in office, and now we're basically at war with Russia. That's how it was supposed to go. They wanted Trump to do that. They wanted Trump to go to war with North Korea. They tried to push him into a war with North Korea. We know now they tried to push him into a war with Iran. These are all situations that I think we should be talking about as well. Just because I think, just because Trump is guilty, by his own words, he is guilty, does not mean that the military-industrial complex establishment is not guilty as well. They're all guilty. But Trump, after saying this, cannot claim to be an innocent person. He obviously cannot be. Just because he's claiming that the war hawks who are trying to push him into a war with Iran are worst, that doesn't make him innocent. They got him dead to rights. Now the question is, why does somebody like Donald Trump believe that he will get away with having those classified documents that even now he admits were not declassified? For a while he tried to pretend that, well, you know, I declassified them when I was president. Well, now we see from the audio that he knew that they were not declassified. He knew they were classified. He knew that he should not have these documents. He knew that they weren't there for him, that he shouldn't have them. But why would he believe that he could get away with it? Why would he have that type of arrogance? And that takes us back to the very first segment, that these people truly believe that they are in a class unto themselves and therefore should not have to play by the same rules that the rest of us play by. And that's not just in college admissions, where they get to make up the majority of the legacy students and the student body. No, this is in politics. This is in under the law as well. This is who these people are. They believe that the law literally works differently for them. And the sad thing is that it does. Now, I just played this audio for you where Trump admits basically that he had these documents, that they're classified, that he shouldn't have them, that he'd get in big trouble if they found out he had them. But I don't think there's a person who's listening to this who thinks that Donald Trump will actually spend any real time in prison. Maybe you do. Give me a call, 219-885-1371. That number again, 219-885-1371. Do you actually think Donald Trump will spend any substantial time in prison? I don't. I just don't. He believes there's a different standard of justice for people like him. And the sad thing is, he's right. He's absolutely correct. His entire life has said that he is above the law. Can you blame him when that is his experience in believing that that just extends to every facet of his life? This is why they resented affirmative action so much. Yes, affirmative action was flawed. I think it should have just applied to African Americans who descended from slavery and native indigenous people who had the land stolen from them and were massacred to do so. But that's not the issue they had with it. The issue they had with it is that they believe that there is a permanent ruling class in this country that should perpetuate itself in perpetuity. That is what they believe. That's what Donald Trump and the Republicans think. And that's what Joe Biden and the Democrats think. They just not as what they do is they'll just say, look, we will let a few token blacks make the system look presentable. We will let a few token blacks make this cruel and savage system of corporate capitalism. We will make it look presentable. That's all they're doing. That's what Kamala Harris is for. That's why she was put there, a woman who helped mass incarcerate thousands of black people in California. That's what Barack Obama was for, who dropped 100,000 bombs on 7 countries and brought chattel slavery back to Africa, helped recolonize Africa. But he looked good in a suit, y'all. He looked good in a suit. Bailed out Wall Street, but not Main Street. And y'all love him for that. Because he looked good in a suit, and he had his wife and his daughters in the White House with him while he was doing it. But no, the Democrats don't believe in accountability any more than the Republicans do. And this next story will prove it. This is from our friends over at the Daily Mail, because you can't really look at the American media to cover this story or any real stories about the corruption of the Bidens, because, you know why? Because, as I said, the media has a very specific bias. New Hunter Biden WhatsApp messages show him demanding $10 million from a Chinese energy venture and bragging that his family is the best at appeasing companies now missing billionaire chairman. The House Republicans released more WhatsApp messages last Tuesday between Hunter Biden and a Chinese business associate. In it, the first son pushed that $10 million needed to be invested annually into the joint venture with CEFC China Energy. Hunter boasts that he could make a $5 million salary at any firm in America, adding that the Bidens are the best at doing what the chairman wants. Now, these messages came from August of 2017. The first son pushed that $10 million needed to be invested annually into the joint venture with CEFC China Energy and called a $5 million proposal new to him and not acceptable, obviously. The House Oversight Committee's Twitter account said that Hunter was messaging Guang Wendong, a CEFC China Energy associate who used the name Kevin. He said, "I'm tired of this, Kevin. I can make $5 million in salary at any law firm in America. If you think it's about money, it's not. The Bidens are the best at doing exactly what the chairman wants from this partnership. Please, let's not quibble over peanuts." The next day, one of Hunter Biden's shell companies, Owasco PC, was given a $10,000 payment from CEFC. The House Oversight Committee said, sharing a receipt. Now, the chairman was now missing Chinese oil tycoon Yi Jianming, who disappeared in February 2018 after being taken into custody by Chinese authorities. The Oversight Committee alleges that Yi was tied to an intelligence gathering agency for the Chinese Communist Party. Yi stated that CEFC was China's vision to obtain overseas resources and serve the national strategy. He wanted to expand China's reach and influence around the world. As more facts come to light, it becomes more evident that the Bidens put China and their interest and America last. That's their opinion. That's the House Oversight Republicans' opinion. Now, Yi had previously been questioned by legal authorities in New York in November 2017 over a bribery scheme related to CEFC's business in Chad and Uganda. His lieutenant, Patrick Ho, was eventually convicted of 7 counts of bribery and money laundering in relation to the bribery scheme. Now, Ho had dialed James Biden, who is Hunter's uncle and Joe Biden's brother, upon being arrested, according to a New York Times profile of the CEFC's downfall. So now we have the president's brother involved in this as well. Since January, the House Oversight Committee under James Comer has been looking into what he calls Biden family influence peddling. The White House and President Joe Biden have repeatedly denied that the president was in business with Hunter. But the WhatsApp message from an IRS whistleblower showed that Hunter used his father's clout to pressure a Chinese associate. Hunter says, "I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made was not fulfilled," he wrote to a communist official named Henry Zhao on July 30th, 2017. Wow. Now, here's the thing. Now, when the IRS whistleblower wanted a GPS location, because the GPS, you could trace people's phone and text to where they are. The whistleblower said, well, if you don't believe me, check the GPS. Well, when he wanted the GPS locations to check where Hunter and Joe Biden, whether Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were in the same room, when Hunter typed that, the prosecutor blocked the request. Also, the same UK Daily Mail has obtained a photo of Hunter Biden outside of his father's Delaware home the day he sent those texts to the Chinese business partner. So now we have Hunter Biden. We at least know Hunter was in the same house with his father when he typed that message demanding more money from the Chinese executive. And of course now, as you all know, we are in a proxy war with Ukraine, where Hunter also is being investigated for his involvement with Burisma, the Ukrainian gas firm, where he had a no-show job that he made $80,000 a month from. Now, there was a prosecutor who was looking into that, a Ukrainian prosecutor who was looking into that because Burisma was found to be a corrupt entity that worked with this bank called SATA Bank, which was shut down after an investigation found gross deficiencies in its adherence to the country's anti-laundering and terrorism financing laws. Now we have emails that show that Hunter gave income statements, passport details, and utility bills to a Burisma executive who set up an account at the now defunct bank that, like I said, was shut down because of its corruption. And all the while, our current president is being referred to as the big guy. The big guy by the Burisma executives who are at the center of the bribery allegations. This is what I'm talking about, folks. This right here is what I'm talking about. Take it back to the very first segment. This is about privilege, power, and privilege. This is why they don't want us in Harvard. This is why they don't want us in elite institutions. So that the Jared Kushners, the Ivanka Trumps, the Hunter Bidens, the Chelsea Clintons, these people will rule over you forever. Meanwhile, you guys are fighting over which oligarch's kids are worse than the other. Well, you know, Chelsea Clinton is not that bad. Oh, Hunter Biden ain't that bad because Ivanka did. They're all corrupt. None of them are in it for you. As the late, great George Carlin said, it's a big club. And you ain't in it. That's all you need to know. It's a big club and you ain't in it. You are not. Neither am I. We have to stop taking sides in between these corrupt oligarchs and their children. We have to let them face whatever consequences they're supposed to face. I see too many people who are clowning themselves to support Joe Biden or clowning themselves to support Donald Trump, when in actuality, the Trump family, the Biden family are two of the most corrupt entities, maybe the two most corrupt entities, well, other than the Clintons. Other than the Clintons, okay, I guess the only way this would be more corrupt is if we got Bill and Hillary involved and their connections to Jeffrey Epstein and people like that. But these people are corrupt. And these are the people who are trying to maintain a status quo that keeps you out of any institution that they will be held accountable in. You want to know why I vote third party? That's why I vote third party. Brother Cornell may not win, but you better believe I'm not going to give people like this the consent to continue to rule over me when they're this doggone corrupt. All right, folks, when I get back, happy happies!